Hello, Adab, Namaste. Welcome to India's Business Legends. Today we're meeting a serial entrepreneur, Joy Sharma. Hi, Joy.
Hi.
So, how are you doing?
Very good.
What does entrepreneurship really mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It's a roller coaster.
And why and when did you decide to come back to India?
So, I actually never wanted to leave India, right? I was one of those people who was very patriotic.
When you got the first work assignment, what was the feeling like? What was it about?
When I initially started the company, the idea was to build.
You cannot work under somebody. How was that time? How did you deal with that?
So it was interesting because McKinsey is also not like a typical corporate environment.
And we were also talking about AI, a friend, or whether it's going to cut down jobs. Because this is one question which is always there at the back of everybody's mind.
This is a tricky one, right? Which is basically that we always overestimate what's going to happen in the short term.
Hello, Adab, Namaste. Welcome to India's Business Legends. So when you were setting up the company, let's say in 2017-18, did you even envision that this is where you're going to reach? Or you're still short on target?
I didn't know precisely what it would look like, but I knew that I didn't want to do things the way that they were being done. And for me, I think that's the difference between doing a business and being an entrepreneur. If you say that here is a company that is doing, let's say, cab service, right? Typical example. We'll do the same thing. For me, that's just incremental innovation. If you can reimagine the world and say that the world looks like this right now, but actually I think this is a better way. I think that is the difference between doing a business and being an entrepreneur. So for me, it was always that we will not do things the way they're done. I was earlier talking about how people have copied our operating model, right? And they're competing with us. But they copied a model, right? But we kept innovating. So we're still ahead, right? Because innovation is the DNA of EZ. If we're doing something, I mean, there are so many times when the team gets frustrated because they're like, we just established over the last year that we're going to do things like this. Now you're changing it again. And I was like, yes, but if you don't, then how are you growing?
So give us an example of something that you turned absolutely heads on.
Recently, digital marketing, right? Digital marketing was happening in our organization a little bit in the way that it was in 2021, let's say, right, or 2022. I was like, there is so much that AI can do right now, right, in terms of content generation, in terms of guiding you, in terms of ideation. So we said, you know what, we're going to do a workshop. Let's everyone come together and just completely rethink the process, right? How is it that we are going to just turn this thing on its head, right? As you said. Now, here is where we started in that workshop, right? So, to get from here to, let's say, a good quality social media post. Step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this, step 4 is this. Now they were saying, okay, in this step, how do I apply AI? In this step, how do I apply AI? In this step, how do I apply AI? And then they were like, no, this is not working. Let me give you an example. So they were trying to create some visual for social media where they were saying that we want to talk about something related to AI, right? Now the instruction that they were giving to AI was create a visual with AI written in the center and a brain and some circuitry, etc. And AI was doing an average job. And then I said, no, guys, we're not leveraging the tool that we have to its full potential. Don't envision the visual in your head and then try to recreate it using AI. Instead of that, what we said is, you know what? This is the type of people that I'm talking to. This is the company that we are. These are our USPs. This is why we are better than competition. This is the message we want to communicate to this target audience. Now give us a visual. Okay. So instead of trying to recreate something that was going on in our heads, we let AI say that here is what I think will work, and it gave us 6 options. Then we picked that option and fine-tuned it, right? So instead of going through this 5-step process, we said let's short circuit the whole thing and then work from there. And I think that was a big mindset shift. It was supposed to be a 3-hour workshop. These guys didn't leave office till like 9 p.m. eventually, right? Because they started enjoying playing with AI, right? Like, and we started creating like videos from AI with the right messaging, and then we were able to discover tools. And now when I say, okay, can we do this, they're like, oh, we'll have to use that tool, then we have to do this, then we have to do this, and we'll get there, right? And instead of making 2 posts a day, in 35 minutes they created 7 posts by the end of that workshop, because there is a different mindset now on how to use this tool to our advantage. So this is kind of one very recent example. This happened first quarter of this year only.
So ultimately, from what I gather, it's actually the human brain only which is working, but it's using AI
As
efficiently, like you said.
As a tool.
We've got to use it as a tool.
Yeah. And we have to understand, right, what the capabilities of this tool are. One of the other really cool things that we're working on right now is a tool for market research. So the 2 or 3 things that we're using, the qualities that AI has that humans struggle with, right? It is able to ingest a very large volume of data, and it's always able to remember that data in the right context, right? So using this, we are actually building an AI-driven market research tool where, for ourselves, we're like, let's curate the right set of data and let this tool do the first cut of the report that our client is going to ask for, and then let the humans work on actually seeing that what are the aspects that are not covered, right, rather than spending their time typing out a report. This is how, so it's just like, you know, the internet, Google, social media for that matter, right? These are all tools that it took people a while to understand how to leverage those tools. AI is the same in that sense, right? That you have to learn how to use it. There are certain things that it's good at, certain things it's not good at. So you have to redesign all your systems.
You are a serial entrepreneur also. When you started your first enterprise, firstly tell me what it was, and secondly, I want to know, at that time also were you this clear about leveraging AI, or you had a completely different mindset?
That was 2006.
Because the times were very, very different from where we are right now.
But what's funny is that that was actually a factory. So this was automotive manufacturing, and I think that was the one that I jumped into because of the itch, right? As you said, the entrepreneurial itch. Because I like, and this is something that I've learned about myself now, is that I like building things, right? A complete blank slate for me is the most exciting thing because the possibilities are endless. So that was where I learned how to design processes, how to design systems. Like, even I always joke about this, but the way that we're able to provide round-the-clock coverage is actually something that I learned when I was running the factory. Is how do you design a shift system, right? Without people, because if you put someone in a night shift constantly, after a few months it starts affecting their health, right? So we have these rotational shift systems where some people are in the night shift, then they move to other shifts, etc. So I think even that, right, like the lessons that you learn in building things carry forward. So it was a factory where we were manufacturing automotive parts. I'm an electrical engineer. I wasn't even a mechanical engineer, but again, when you're 24, you have all the energy in the world, and I just believed that I could do it. So when I was in my job, I took out like a loan that became my working capital, and with that I managed to get some machinery on rent, and then I started the factory with like one machine and 5 people. There we eventually were at like 70 people working around the clock, and then 2008 happened. So the entire automotive manufacturing, everything kind of dropped, and we went from round the clock to a 5 days a week single shift, just to kind of be in survival mode. And I think that's when I realized that this whole strategy thing is important to learn about, and that's what triggered the idea for me to go do an MBA and really understand because that space is there's something called SWOT analysis, right, where you say what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when I actually studied it and I went and looked back, the space that I was in and the way that I had set up that business was I had no negotiating power against anyone, right? Like my clients could twist my arm, the competition could come in with much less capability than we had and still be able to compete. So the market was just like not a great place. But yeah, again, lessons learned along the way, and that's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do now.
So I feel that there's this entrepreneurial streak in you. Do you think you'll start another business sometime soon? Is there already something in your mind?
So yes. So currently EZ is a B2B services business, right? We talked about it. Now all the technology that we're developing, I'm actually considering something called AI.EZ, which would basically make this technology available to our clients, even our competitors for that matter, to use and grow, right? Because this business now, the leadership team has been in place for 2 years. They're running the company. And they're growing the company. So I have now focused myself on building more and more IP related to AI, and that maybe becomes like a separate entity, which is then more AI product type company. But still in the works. We'll see where it goes. And I'm very fluid in that sense that I will consider something as a project. I will go put energy into it. If it comes to fruition, great. Otherwise, I pick up something else. So that's where we are right now. I'm seeing a lot of positive feedback on this stuff. So hopeful. And that again, now that would be the kind of thing where I think a VC would be an interesting partner, right? Because especially with your typical product type stuff, there is a lot of investment. We've invested actually a few $1 million in doing all of the research and all that already. But I think that's a place where a VC would be an interesting partner to grow and scale quickly.
Right. Or instead of VC, do you think there would be other ways to get funding? Have you ever considered?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, when you've been running a business for 7-8 years, you consider all kinds of approaches. I think there are very specific ways to think about what kind of funding to use in what kind of business. So if you, let's say the EZ B2B services business, VC funding doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right? Here, maybe if we think about growing through acquisition, right, then venture debt or private equity could be good ways to go. On a product-based business like the AI.EZ that I'm talking about, that would be more, where a VC type funding would make more sense, because these different ways of funding exist because they create alignment between the investor and the company in a certain way, right? These are all different models. So yeah.
When we talk about entrepreneurship, the journey is full of ups and downs. And when you're the leader of your company, everything is on your shoulders. The success, the failure. Do you ever feel like an imposter, or do you ever feel like maybe I don't deserve so much, or maybe I could have done so much better, but I'm not doing so much?
So I come from middle class background, right? And this is something that comes with it. Is that something it's just on your mind always, that can I do better? Do I deserve this? And self-doubt is part of the journey. I actually think that the way I use it is I use it as fuel, right? So when I feel self-doubt, I put myself in action mode. That let me go and do something, right? And that helps in overcoming this. I think one place that I do, especially when I interact with people from other parts of the world, one thing that I do feel that I and many other people could do better is the marketing aspect of it, right? Like we've done some amazing things over here, but I'm always a little bit shy in talking about it, right? Whereas I know a lot of people who will do something really small, and I'm not just talking about people here, people all over the world, right? Who will do something very small, and then they'll make such a big deal out of it, right? And it's a very important skill, by the way, for an entrepreneur. I wouldn't call it sales, but it's communication, right? It's about telling everyone what is it that you're doing, about all the achievements that you've made, and I think that's something that I'm still working on myself. To kind of be able to do that better and more. But yeah, there's this very interesting term, right, which is insecure overachiever, right? This is something that's associated as a personality trait with some of the most successful people. So being insecure is important, right? Because if you get secure, you get complacent, and then you're not competitive anymore. You're not innovating. You're not growing. So it's a dynamic equilibrium, right? You have to kind of keep balancing both the feelings, and keep watching out for how you're feeling at a moment, because the other thing that happens is that how you're feeling impacts the rest of the team.
It does.
Right, so that
also you cannot tell the team that I'm having self-doubts.
Depends. I feel like I'm a quite open and transparent about this stuff, because see, the thing with entrepreneurship is that you try stuff. Some of it will work, some of it will not work, but it's the project that didn't work. It's not like you failed, right? So we can't take that on ourselves. There was an idea, nobody knew whether it would work or not. We at least had the courage to go and try it out, and then maybe it didn't work. So I think it has to be more, we have to disconnect it a little bit from the person and the self, or then from oneself, right? So I think that it's not easy, right? It's something that we all struggle with, and it's a journey that I'm also on.
So when you said that you're very transparent with your team, I sense that there's a very different kind of work culture, which is not just about the setting of the office or the peppy vibe. What's the deep rooted funda that you use with your employees?
Yeah, so I think this is a journey that we're all on together, right? I think the first thing is to be on the same side of the table. We can't be across the table from anyone, right? We're on the same side of the table. Across the table is the problem that we're trying to solve, and I think that's important. Matter of fact, one of the key values that we have is people first, right? So most organizations, they say that when the company grows, you will grow. We think the opposite. We feel that if our people will grow, the organization will automatically grow, right? And I think that's so we have two values, right, at core values that we have at EZ. One is innovating with AI, the second is people first. And people first is basically, and I say this a lot of times in job interviews to people also, like, I'm not giving you a job, I'm giving you an opportunity, right? Now it's on you what you make of it. We will create the environment for you to grow and hit sixers, but you have to also bring the fire, right? I can't push you to grow. And I think that's the kind of people who also stick with us. So a very interesting thing that we've noticed at EZ is that either people leave within the first year, if they stay for long, right? Because that culture works for them. So we have a lot of self-driven, self-motivated people who are trying to grow personally also, but also like overall they want to do amazing things. So meritocracy is a very important part of this people first thing, right? We have trajectories, right? Growth trajectories. So you would be an associate, a team leader, senior team leader, whatever. But the speed at which you move through that trajectory is up to you. That doesn't mean that you can go up very fast, right? And that's a good thing. What it means is that you're here. This is what is required in terms of skills and capabilities to do the task of a team leader. You have to prove that you've learned all those skills, you've grown to this point, and then no one's going to stand in your way. Then you're here. Then the next bar is, the next level. And then you learn skills and you grow and you say, okay, now I'm here. So this is The other thing that we've also allowed for in this same system, it's kind of, it's not like कि 2 साल हो गए तो promotion होना है, ये ऐसा नहीं है. The other thing which actually I want to share a very interesting incident. There was this one, I think he was the second or third hire at EZ, right? And at some point, and he was an amazing person, and he grew very fast for a year and a half. But then he got to a point where he was like, I have had situation in personal life and I'm just not in a state of mind. And we said, okay, so it's not like you have to jump to this next level. Cruise here. This is a place that you are comfortable in. Take the time to get to a more balanced place in your life and cruise here, right? You do this job well, you continue doing this job, and when you feel ready and energized again to go to the next level, then you put in your energy. It's not that if you stay here for 2 years, then I'm going to say that you're, that we don't want you at this organization. You're doing your job well, so you stay here. That's fine. And that, I think, is, when people talk about work-life balance, right? I think it's important to understand that when you're with an organization for such a long time, you are going to go through phases in your own life.
True.
Right? And the organization structure should just allow for that. So if you want to cruise for a while, it's okay, right? I want to take it easy. I know how to do this job well. It doesn't stress me out. Let me just do this for a while. What is this race of I want to go to the next level? So this system of meritocracy, it actually works both ways, right? And you can pace your growth. So I think that's something that again is built into how we do it. The way we do performance evaluations, the way we don't do annual appraisals, right? We have a quarterly rhythm where we have something called people performance reviews, PPRs, where the expectations are set for the next quarter. You get feedback, and then we figure out where are the gaps, where do you need training. But instead of doing that at the end of the year, we do it every quarter, right? And by the way, the bonuses are also paid out on a quarterly basis related to what was, because see, अभी 12 महीने बाद किसको क्या याद रहेगा? So many things would have changed. So a quarterly rhythm really keeps people, it feels more achievable. It's like bite size.
Right.
It's not like I have to accomplish something really big. And then people also, then it sprints, right, for everyone. So I think that's so there's a lot of different, when I was talking about, it's like cooking. You have to design a lot of these things intricately, and all of these things have to work with your business model, the service that you're providing, your kind of clients. All of that has to be kind of in sync with each other. But yeah, I think if it wasn't for the amazing people that we have, what could I have done alone? So I think that and this transparency thing, right? Like we have, and we keep bouncing back and forth a little bit. Sometimes it becomes too formal a process, then it becomes too informal, and then it becomes casual. So you have to kind of keep that balance. And for me, whether it's something good or it's something bad, everyone in my team knows that I will say it in front of everyone, right? Like I don't have the time and energy to go say one thing to one person and then go say something to other. जो है सामने है, and सबका सामने है. जो मेरी गलती है वो मेरी गलती भी है, right? It's not that जब वो होता है तो then I say कि हाँ ठीक है, this is where I made a mistake, फिर correct करते हैं उसको, आगे बढ़ते हैं. गलतियाँ तो होंगी ही ना, लोग ही तो हैं.
I really hope the other bosses are also listening, because I find it very interesting, and I see a lot of people very lazy and complacent in their jobs because of that annual appraisal thing. They're like, okay, let's just stay where we are.
Last quarter में होता है काम सारा.
Last quarter में काम होगा कि जब deadline सर पर होगी तो we'll work. So this is actually a very good approach.
It is, but it is also, it takes time and energy and resources, right? Like the people function. So Divya, who leads our people team, she was the fourth if you count me, to join the organization, and she's built this organization with me right from the beginning. So the amount of effort that it takes into executing on this mindset, right? For a lot of people, HR is just like a whatever, it's a support function. For us, and we call it people, we don't call it HR. So the people team is actually an integral part of the business strategy. So yeah, I think it's it's important, yeah, and but it takes effort. and it takes a lot of, like, we have feedbacks that people can give anonymously. They can put their name to it. The feedback can be for their peers, it can be for the organization itself, it can be for me, it can be for their manager. We have quarterly sessions where we do a pulse survey. We have the PPRs anyway that exist, the public performance reviews, which is also a two-way process, by the way, right? It's not just that the boss is giving rating to the junior. The junior also, it's a conversation, right? This is where I needed to be. These are the challenges. I need your support to get from here to here next quarter.
I saw a box that said Joy's inbox, sort of a thing, when I was entering. What is that?
That is the last level of escalation, right? If you're not comfortable talking to your manager, if you're not comfortable talking to the people team, if there is something that you feel is unethical that is going on, we have an honor code. You guys should take a picture of it. We can talk about it if you want. Then that box, I'm the only person in the office who has a key to that box. You can just write a note and put it in that box. Every week I check that box. If there's something in it, I'll act on it, right? So this is kind of the, and there have been instances where people have flagged things that are going on, and you have to create that culture and that safety. Like at times people were like, yes, but the Joy's inbox also there is like a CCTV there, right? So we changed that to make sure that it could really be anonymous, right? The one more thing I wanted to mention was around the kind of support that we are building, right? So one really cool example is something called a performance buddy. So you have work, which is part of your life, and then there is the rest of your life. What happened a lot of times is that people would be having issues in relationships, family, shadi, whatever. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on in all our lives, right? And that would then become something that they would either talk to their manager about or talk to, let's say, I don't know, they'll come to me, because we have that kind of a culture where we talk, right, all of us. And what that does is that it creates a strain on the professional relationship somewhat, right? So what we did is we actually have a professional on board. This person is called a performance buddy, and this is a safe space that we've created, whereby and this person is in the office once a week for half a day, and you can book slots with this person, and this is during office hours, right? So you can go book slots with this person and talk about all of the things outside of the professional boundary which could be affecting you, right? So let's say there is some issue at home, financial, whatever, relationship. That's a place that you can talk to, and it's this person is a trained professional, it's a therapist. Their job is to help you balance kind of your professional performance with your personal stuff, and this person also then knows about this meritocracy thing that I talked about, and they're able to then guide the people to kind of have that balance. And I've talked to so many entrepreneurs who are really surprised that we have something like this, right? Also, mental health is something that we take extremely seriously, right? We will so I mean, when people have something that they need to deal with, right, then not just the performance buddy, but there's also like they can take time off, and all of those things we're quite flexible and understanding about. And the way we do it is also that we take it sufficiently seriously that we treat it like physical health, right? And that's our lens. That if you're saying that there is something that's going on, then it's for us it's the same as physical health, right? So I think some of these things, and this is what I was saying, that people love this, right, about working here, and then they go back and talk to their let's say roommate, right, who's working at a traditional organization. Now some things are different over there which are nicer. So some people are like, we want that nice also and this nice also, and then I have to tell them that listen, it's a package, right? If you're if this is the organization, this is the culture, then it will also come with responsibility, right? So that's why there's a certain type of people who fit in, certain type don't. But yeah, maybe I digressed. I talked about a lot of different things, but just to give you a flavor of how we look at people and why people first is a value, and what we do to then kind of double down and actually take actions on it.
So this actually gave me deep insight into what foundation EZ is built on. I mean, it's people first. When you say that, we know that people are actually building this organization. What apart from this do you think is the could be the causes for the success of EZ?
B2B services, I would say there is only one true north, which is giving high quality delivery. The whole challenge with B2B services is that because everything is so subjective and there is client relationships and frustrations and tight timelines, and this is not, see, when you have to deliver, I don't know, let's take, you have to build a car, right? Then it's going to be this many cc.
Right.
But if you have to do a graphic design or create a video or do research, it's very tough to understand what the client wants. We can't read their minds, right? Maybe in 10-15 years that will also be possible, but we can't read their minds, and they communicate what they're looking for. We'll give something. So there is a lot of if you're able, so there's a lot of frustration that builds up usually with B2B vendors, right? We have more than 90%, actually not just 90%, we are close to 95% in terms of retention of clients since the beginning, right? Why? Because this is what we focus on. We're saying that delivery is our core focus. At the end of the day, at the end of the project, if the client was successful, why would they go elsewhere? And that's the core for me. The core, all of our growth has been organic. People have left one organization, they've taken us with them to their next organization. They've introduced us there and say, no, we should use these guys, right? And that's how all of our growth has happened. Obviously there is kind of sales that we do, whatever, but a lot of it is through references and people who've used our service before. Also B2B service, it's very tough to articulate what it is, right? Till the time they don't experience it, they don't know the difference, right? You can write whatever you want on your landing pages, on your social media, but once they've experienced it, that's when the stickiness happened. And I think for us, that's been the core, is having a very, very strong delivery engine, which is what's causing our clients to grow. And I mean, we're at 40-50% CAGR, right? So every year we're growing about that much, and we have good EBITDAs, because when clients are happy with the delivery, they don't mind paying a little bit more to us than the competitor, right? And our thing has always been that we're moderately priced for premium quality, right? We're not low cost, but we're not also exorbitant. So it's always been moderate price for premium quality. So I think those things combined has led to growth organically.
Great. So this also brings me to the last question of our episode. What advice would you give to the entrepreneurs who are watching it, who want to start something of their own, or who are running a business?
Business is very simple. This is something I learned in economics class. Whatever you're doing, you create a certain amount of value. Some of that value you pass on to the client, some of it you keep to yourself. Shortcuts are not going to get you there. You have to put in the hard work to understand, to really kind of create that value. If the value gets created, and when I say value, it could be removing some pain point for the client, it could be some kind of innovation that you're doing. But once you've created that value, eventually it's just about efficiency gain, right? Like how much money are you saving for the client, how much hassle are you saving for the client. Once you've done that, then you keep some of that value, you give some of that value to the client, and it's straightforward. But if you're not creating that value, then, or at least, I feel like every entrepreneur should have a very, very clear understanding of what is the value that they're creating in the market. Like for us, we know that a lot of the services that we're doing are services that others do. The reason clients stay with us is because of the kind of service that they get. It's not so much about the quality of the graphic that we designed, but it's about the service and the journey that they went through in getting to that out, right? So for us, that's very clear. How do we make that journey better? What can we do around that? That's our innovation. But I think every entrepreneur needs to be very clear about what is the value that they're creating for all stakeholders, right? And I think about this the same way for our team, right? It's not like we're the highest payers, but people like working here for so many other reasons, right? Because we're creating value for them. When you think about clients, it's the same way. If you have partners, it's the same thing. So we just have to know that for all the stakeholders. If you have investors, it's again the same thing, right? For so many investors, I know that the value is not necessarily just the return on investment, right? So many of them also care about, are you a good company? Are you an ethical company? Do I feel proud in being associated with you as an organization? This is all value, right? And that needs to be very, very clear for all the stakeholders that a business is working with. So that's my spiel.
Thank you so much for the time that you gave us, and I'm sure your insights must have helped a lot of the viewers that we have on IBL. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and best of luck to everyone who is either already an entrepreneur or starting your journey. It's really a unique experience, and I'm glad that you're thinking about it.